She got her own house. She got her own house. She got her own house.
Hey family, welcome back to my channel. So I got some great news on my property tax protest, and we're going to talk about homestead exemption. So let's talk about it. So if you watched my video that I posted a few weeks ago, I guess more like a month ago at this point, I got my very first property tax bill, or let me know that it was time for me to get appraised again for this year. And so they were trying to tell me that my house appraised for $50,000 more than what I paid for the home just 6 months ago. So of course I knew that was not going to fly with me, because I don't even want to know how much that would make my mortgage payment, my monthly mortgage payment shoot up, because you guys know I went through the NACA program, so everything is rolled into my escrow. So I do have my property taxes included in my monthly mortgage payment. But anywho, so I started researching immediately, like what can be done. And what I found out through the course of my research was that you can protest your property taxes. So this was, for my particular situation, easy, because I did have a new construction home that I purchased kind of at the beginning of the end. And what I mean by that is kind of at the beginning of the end of, number one, the low interest rates. And so house prices kind of stopped going up. And then I kind of bought it at the beginning of the end of, when home prices were still affordable. Okay, if that makes any sense. So I was able to get my home and I have a 2-story home. I got it for probably $50,000 to $60,000 less than my next door neighbor, who purchased an inventory home, and they just have a 1-story home. So for this particular situation, I come out ahead, because all I had to do to protest was to provide my settlement statement that I got directly from the title company. And I showed you guys that in my last video of what you need to look for whenever you take that down to the appraisal district's office. Now, next year it is going to get a bit trickier, because I won't have that, this is what I paid for it, here's my settlement statement to fall back on. I'm going to be appraised based on what every other house on my street is being appraised for. So I'm going to be in a bit of a pickle next year. But there are some things that you can do, such as getting estimates, pulling comps, taking pictures of any work that needs to be done inside of your home that doesn't include your fence. If your fence is messed up, or I don't think any landscaping as well, but any kind of structural things that are broken, or like bad windows. That's like the number one thing that I've been seeing on YouTube, is that you can do is just get a quote to get your windows replaced, and that should be pretty easy. You can get that done for free. But definitely work with a realtor, your realtor that you purchase your home with. Hopefully they'll be able to help you after you've closed, pull those comps. But if not, there are plenty of services that you can just Google. They will probably unsolicitedly send you mail anyway when these notice of appraisals go out, and they'll try to get your business. You'll pay them like, a couple $100 or something, and they'll protest on your behalf. But as you guys saw, I didn't hire one of these third-party companies. I just protested on my own, and I was able to get my property taxes reduced by my property tax appraisal value, that is, reduced by $50,000. So last time when I made my previous video, I let you guys know that I was going to go up there, because I was seeing that you could probably talk to someone that same day, and companies or the appraisal districts are usually willing to settle with you right then and there, to kind of lessen their load, because everyone's going to wait until the last minute. So they want to get as many people kind of settled as they possibly can. And they're just really looking for people to just come in and talk to them. Okay. So, but then after I recorded that video, I started doing more research, and I saw that you could submit your appraisal online and get a settlement like immediately as soon as you hit submit. I later found out that varies from appraisal district to appraisal district, because I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit mine online, submit it for what I paid for, and I'll get an answer right then and there. No, y'all. So it took 30 days to the day. Okay. I submitted it on May 5th. I got an answer yesterday on June the 5th. Okay. That they had accepted, or they had made me an offer to settle. And so basically, all I did was the exact same thing that I told you guys last time. I just filled out that information. A lot of it was already filled out. You had the login and everything. So I had to create an account. I won't have to do that ever again as long as I keep this house. But I just selected incorrect appraised parentheses market value and or value is unequal compared with other properties. And then so after I selected that, they ask for you on the next screen to upload your evidence. I uploaded my signed settlement statement that I got from the title company. And then it was just a waiting game. So after a couple of weeks of waiting, I got a little bit antsy. So at this point, I believe the deadline was May 17th. Okay, so I would say probably like May 15th or 16th, I went up to the CAD office to try to take my paperwork in person and go ahead and settle right then and there. Y'all, the line, I'm not exaggerating, it was wrapped around the building. I wish that I would have taken a picture of it so that you guys can see. So, word of advice, when you're protesting your property taxes, please do not wait until the very last minute if you want to drop your information off in person, okay? It was a hot mess, but I still ended up waiting in line until I was able to go to talk to someone at the front desk. They weren't allowing people to talk to, I guess, do any appeals on site because there was a 6-hour wait at that time. So all they were allowing you to do is to drop your paperwork off and get a stamped copy, proving that you'd actually, turned in your paperwork on time. So after that, I then waited, like I said, until June the 5th, and then I got an email, and it says settlement and waiver of protest. And it has just information. I'm not going to flash it on the screen because it has like a lot of my personal information, my address and everything like that. But it has just like the land value, the adjusted value, the total assessed value, which was the most important at the very bottom. And it had the notice value, which was $50,000 higher than what they are agreeing to settle with me for. So all I have to do is, let me see if I can show this up here. You guys can't see that, but anyway, it's a way for me to electronically sign and accept, or I can hit a button down here at the very bottom that says I decline. Now, if I decline, that means that I am getting prepared to go in front of a hearing board to actually talk to a panel of people in order to protest my property taxes. So you don't have to accept this. But based on my research, this would probably be like kind of like your best chance so just go ahead. If they offer you something cheaper than what they appraise, you should probably go ahead and accept it, unless you just have like ironclad proof that you deserve a lower homestead appraised value. Now, so of course I'm not going to protest. They gave me exactly what I wanted, and I was kind of like, maybe I should have went a little bit lower and got a little bit cheaper. But anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and accept it. I haven't done it yet. It didn't give me a timeline that I have to accept this by or anything. Yeah, it just says you may accept or reject the terms listed in the settlement and waiver. If you do not agree with our value and reject the settlement and waiver, an appraisal review board hearing will be scheduled and notification of the time and date will be sent. So yeah, so it's not saying anything, but I'm gonna just do it right away anyway. But so you see, you can go in front of a board, present your evidence, and then I guess if that doesn't work out, I think you can sue them, I believe. But yeah, most people just stop at the hearing. But I also was told when I went up there in person that you have one final chance to get a settlement. They will send you a hearing date and you can call the morning of your hearing date to try to settle one last time. So just an FYI, if you, I guess, I don't know, missed this or whatever, you requested a hearing, if you changed your mind, you can still accept the settlement. You can just call and talk to them, at least in my district. Okay, I have noticed that it varies from district to district, so make sure you call. But now let's talk about what I'm going to do next year. Next year is going to be tricky for me because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my neighbors paid a lot more for their homes than I did, and they are a lot smaller. So I am absolutely going to have to apply for a homestead exemption next year in order to not receive an astronomical increase to my monthly mortgage amount. Okay, so if you're not familiar with a homestead, I believe that most states have homestead exemptions at this point, but definitely Google your local county and see if they have the homestead exemption available in your county. But what I'm talking about today will be for the state of Texas. But I'm going to go ahead and flash it on the screen now. I did get this from the Texas Comptroller.gov site, so it is legit information. But so it says homestead residents homestead exemptions. To qualify, a home must meet the definition of a residence homestead. The home's owner must be an individual, for example, not a corporation or other business entity, and use the home as his or her principal residence on January 1st of the tax year. An age 65 or older or disabled exemption is effective as of January 1st of the tax year. The applicant qualifies for the homestead and applies to the entire. So the homestead exemption in Texas reduces your taxable amount of your home by $40,000. Okay, and there is active legislation right now as we speak that's being voted on. I think it just passed the House in Texas recently to try to increase that from $40,000 to $100,000. So let me explain. So when they reduce your taxable amount by $40,000, say that you have a $100,000 home. So if you have a homestead exemption, that means that the county is only going to tax you on $60,000 of worth of value of your home. So that provides you a little bit of instant relief, okay? And then there are other things like through the city and stuff like that, but that's through the school district, is that you're automatically guaranteed a $40,000 reduction in your taxable value in the state of Texas. The best thing about the homestead exemptions is that they put a cap of 10%. And I'll go ahead and flash it on the screen now so that you guys can see. But it says the appraised home value for a homeowner who qualifies his or her homestead for exemptions in the preceding and current year may not be increased more than 10% per year. Now, again, this is in Texas, so definitely look into your own state and county rules and tax code or whatever you want to call it, okay? But that means that next year when I go, so I'm going to apply for the homestead exemption this year. And next year when it's time for me to do this all over again, the most they can cap it is 10%, of the market value, or if I put the house up for sale, or if I've made some major improvements. And you're wondering possibly how would they find out if I made major improvements? Well, if you do something major, you're going to have to file for permits with the city, okay? So just an FYI, they will find out about you if you want to add a bathroom or convert a garage into another living space, or something like that, where you're actually doing legitimate work. You're filing permits, or whoever the contractor is that you're working with is filing permits with the city, and they're going to be keeping tabs on that when it comes time for property tax appraisals, okay? Just an FYI. But that's what's going to happen. And then the other good thing about this is that when I file for this, it's going to be retroactive to this year. So obviously I missed the deadline. The deadline is, I believe, April 30th to file your homestead exemption. I did not do that. So when I filed now, it's going to be effects going forward as well as this past year. So they're either going to owe me some money, or I don't know if they're going to just apply it next year at tax time to whatever my bill is. I'm not sure. I'll let you guys know how this all kind of pans out. But go ahead, and if you have not already, if you are a homeowner and you do not have a homestead exemption, go ahead and research this. Okay, this is not anything I knew about, and it's maybe because I didn't know any homeowners in Texas, which has like the highest, I believe, like the second highest property taxes in the entire nation. I think California may be number one, and Texas is number two. So maybe it hasn't ever come up with anyone else. So I didn't even know about it, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to sustain, especially in this market, without the homestead exemption. But another good thing about the homestead exemption that I want to mention to you guys is that if you make your house, your primary residence, a homestead, creditors cannot come after you and take your home in the state of Texas. Okay, so it protects you from creditors as well as increased property taxes. So don't worry about someone suing you and putting a lien against your house or nothing like that. Or, now obviously if you owe back taxes or you don't pay your property taxes or something like that, like people can, like the government can still come and take your stuff. But your old credit card debt or whatever, they cannot come after your home if you mark it as a homestead. I know that I have done a lot of talking, but I told you guys in the previous video that this time when I made the follow-up, I would slow down, explain things more clearly in detail like I normally do on this channel. But that is it, guys. If I forgot anything, I apologize, but you guys know the drill. Let's jump down in the comments and let's talk about it. If you have been successful with protesting your property taxes, let us know that in the comments as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video because it takes a village.